please help me with the name of this band right here. What is that the name? Oh, that was really smooth. That's not what I read when I read this. Say it again.
Gwa'sala.
Gwa'sala. Oh, I think I might be able to learn that by the time I leave. All right, practice.
Gwa'sala, Nakwaxda'xw.
Gwa'sala, I'll work on it. You can laugh, it's okay. Yeah, I know I'm butchering it. Okay. So yeah, thank you for having me again here. We're gonna start the next few. I'll be here till Sunday night. I'll be giving workshops. We'll meet with the youth during the day, and in the evening is for the community at large. We decided we were going to start off really light. So if tonight seems really light to you, I gave you the warning. It's light. Last time we got into some pretty heavy grief. I think you were there last time.
No.
For grief? No? Last year?
Might be somebody else, maybe like me.
Somebody else was sitting here and they had some really hard questions.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right. And there's my flying monkey.
Maybe he's flying right now.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's working today.
Nice. All right. So we're going to start out really light. So today I was asked to talk on mindfulness. Mindfulness is not something that typically we talked about growing up. Maybe in your culture you did. Certainly not in mine. It was never talked about. Get to work. That was talked about, right? But mindfulness, Buddhists have talked about it for thousands of years, being mindful. First Nation has been talking about it forever because you had to be mindful with the earth and taking care of her. You had to be mindful of taking care of the crops, and instead of all the way that our forests are burning now, it was very calculated. There used to be somebody in charge of that. You were mindful of forestry and conservation. You had to be mindful of the people that you were helping to raise in the village, in the community that you're in. So there was a lot more mindfulness than certainly in my culture growing up. So we're all going to have different experiences around mindfulness, but I was asked to talk about mindfulness today because it seems like the more technological we get, the less mindful we are of others. In fact, 3 nights ago, I was having a belated Mother's Day dinner. Took my mom out for dinner. And someone at the table asked, how do we teach teenagers how to be mindful? Because they're always in their devices. And that's a bit of a tough one. That's what they're surrounded with. Everything is all, on your device. Fred, right?
That's right.
Fred was driving and he was texting. He was swerving all over the road and speeding. That's how distracted he was driving. I'm joking. I'm glad you recognize that. But I think that that's something that the newer generation really struggling with is how to be mindfulness. How to be mindful. I guess that would explain why the latest statistic is that 40% of Generation Z are depressed. They're not present. They're not engaged like they used to be. So, believe it or not, mindfulness is something we actually have to teach now. because we're losing our kids to depression because of the devices they're on. So, what is mindfulness? It's just being fully present and engaged in the moment. Aware of your thoughts, feelings, and surroundings without any judgment. There's no trying to figure it out. It just is. So, if you feel safe, I want you to close your eyes. You don't have to if you don't want to, but close your eyes. I just want you to be mindful of something. What do you hear or feel right now? Let's take a deep breath. Okay, open your eyes. What did you notice?
Sounds.
What sound?
A fan.
The fan?
And the little bit of muffled
There's a hum.
talking in the kitchen.
Oh, a little bit of talking. There's also another hum. I don't know what it's from. It's not from the fans. It's from something. Anybody hear the hum?
The main. I hear it sometimes, yeah.
Oh, the main speakers. Yeah, I'll bet you that's it. That's what it is. Yeah. Anything else?
Traffic.
Yeah, I heard a couple cars go by. Okay, what else? What did you feel? Did you feel anything? Are you alive?
Relax.
Relaxed? You felt relaxed? Okay. I felt my knee hurting, my internet, a little while ago, foolishly. I felt that.
Sorry.
No, but it told me how much I tuned it out. So when I relaxed and was mindful, I became aware of my pain, which I should be aware of my pain. Okay, anybody else? What did you feel? Anybody tired? Nobody's tired? You got somebody next door to you that can nudge you. Okay, so it's interesting when we slow down our world and we just take a deep breath and close our eyes, how much more we suddenly can be aware of that's around us. So I guess my question to you is, I wonder how much in life, if we were to slow down and concentrate, would we be hearing people more around us than what we are currently in our daily buzz, in our routines? Because even though it's the teens that are struggling with staying present, I question whether it's our generation also. I was at a conference with about 500 doctors and nurses. And the presenter was talking about addiction. And she said, how many of you in here feel you don't have an addiction? So a lot of hands went up. A lot. And then all she did was this. And suddenly, a lot of hands went down. With the doctors and nurses. They had to admit that they were struggling when confronted. So I think that we all can practice mindfulness and being more aware, and perhaps not tune out people like we sometimes are. So, why should we practice mindfulness? Let's talk about the science. It's to reduce stress and anxiety, improves focus and concentration and memory. We want to be able to enhance our emotional regulation. Has anybody heard or read about EQ? EQ, yeah, a little bit. So there was something called IQ. We grew up with that. We understood IQ. intelligence quotient, right? You have a really high IQ or a low IQ, people talk about that. But one of the questions they ask themselves are, why, researchers, why are there so many smart people in prison? If they're so smart, why are they in prison? And they tested the prisoners had high IQs. So why is that? And what they found was that there's a yin to the yang. There's high IQ, but there's also EQ, which is emotional quotient. And so they said EQ is the ability that even though you know what's better, is to follow what's better and to control your emotions and your impulses. So you know it's wrong to rob a bank, but why did you still do it? Right? So EQ comes along and says, it's wrong to rob a bank, even though I would love to have that money. I know that it's wrong and it's against my conscience, it's against my value system. I would feel horrible afterwards. I'm not going to do it. And you control your impulses. So high IQ and high EQ. And what they're finding are that a lot of people are struggling with EQ nowadays. There isn't the ability to control our impulses. And so by practicing mindfulness, you are suddenly more in touch with your emotional regulation, the ability to manage your emotions and be in touch with them. Increases immunity, lowers blood pressure, for any of the nurses in here, improves sleep, it decreases the effects of depression, and it promotes overall well-being. So one time I went in to see a nurse, and she took my blood pressure and she said, oh, that's really high. I'm like, oh, hang on. Give me a minute and take it again. And she said, why? Suspicious of whatever I was going to do. And I just calmed down my breathing, calmed down my heart rate, calmed my mind. And she took it again and it dropped by 5 or 10 points, something significant. And she couldn't believe that you could calm down blood pressure. Like, it's one thing to calm down your heart rate, but or maybe it was heart rate. No, it was heart rate. It wasn't blood pressure. Then I calmed down my heart rate that much just by breathing and being calm. So we know that the effects of mindfulness are important. Something I've been learning about lately is epigenetics. How does our genes get activated by certain things? It's very interesting reading. They haven't found a gene to suggest that you're alcoholic or that you are predisposed to struggle with addiction, but they have found genetic genes that control impulsivity, and certain markers can be activated based on your growing up and your history and your past. So, mindfulness. Neuroplasticity. Mindfulness can rewrite the brain to enhance positive thinking and emotional resilience. Larry was explaining to me and sharing earlier some of his experiences growing up and how lately he's been shifting how he thinks about things. And he's completely rewiring his brain by not hanging on to old stuff, but by thinking of new things, new concepts, new ways of moving forward. So, I think that's very fascinating. Areas affected are the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala, the back of the, sort of right above the spine is the amygdala. So, let's practice some mindfulness. We're gonna talk about how do you get mindful? How do you become aware of more situations? These young guys in the back of the room. How old are you guys? 17? 18? What? 13? Big boy. All right. You look 16, 17, and yeah. Okay, you're doing good. So a lot of the movies that they watch talk about how their superheroes or some of the action figures can hear like a weapon being drawn, or they can hear bullets flying at them, and they're just these super in tune superheroes. And there are amazing people from our past that have been documented to be able to hear extraordinary things because they're so mindful of their surroundings. But some ways of incorporating mindfulness into our daily life are by what we just did a second ago, mindful breathing. There's also mindful eating. Sometimes I'll get kids like this, a big bag of jelly bellies. Jelly bellies, they're different flavors, right? And we sit around, you give each one a jelly belly, and I mix in these horrible ones, like dirty diapers, stinky socks. There's some jelly bellies that are really rotten fish, just disgusting ones, and I see which one we have gotten. But I get them to eat these jelly bellies and to savor them for like a whole minute. Don't just eat handfuls, just take one and enjoy it for a whole minute. And just to slow down and get them to enjoy it. So mindful eating. Mindful walking. How many in here are walkers? Anybody a walker? Yeah, I enjoy walking. We have a little trail around our property. Take the dogs for a walk and just enjoy it. I saw somebody out here earlier walking their dog. Enjoying mindful walking. And then setting daily intentions. How are you going to daily do a meditation? Has anyone ever done a meditation at work or had to go somewhere quiet and private at work just because they needed to cool off and calm down? Anybody ever do that? Yeah, I did. It happens. So, what are some ways of practicing mindfulness? There's something that's called body scanning meditation. This is to focus on each part of the body, releasing your tension. There's also breath awareness to concentrate on your breathing patterns and noticing the inhaling and exhaling. And then there's prayerful meditation, which, depending on what your spiritual belief is just really concentrating on your prayer and practicing gratitude in your prayers. So, sending others well wishes. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a meditation right now. We're going to practice one. So I want to figure out which one we're going to try. Should we do a body scanning one for anyone that's being sexually abused? That can be sometimes tough. Or if you've done a lot of work around it, you're probably going to be okay. There's breath awareness, concentrating on breathing. And then there's a prayerful meditation. Should we maybe do the breathing one, just to be on the safe side? The body scanning one is interesting. I'm reading a book right now from a U.S. Marine. And they talk about how they start from their nose. They can sleep anywhere in the world. This is in their training. They can sleep anywhere in the world under any circumstances, bombs going off, bullets flying, and they practice in 30 seconds, up to 2 minutes, how to fall asleep in any condition. And they start with their nose, and they work their way out. And they relax their mouth next, their eyes, all the muscles around their eyes. Then they sort of just relaxes the whole face and head, and then they work down the whole body. And they purposely make sure that every single finger, every muscle, they relax it. And that's how they train themselves to fall asleep in 30 seconds to 2 minutes. So that's sort of what body scanning is. It's just or another way to do it, body scanning, is to imagine a warm light. That you're laying on your bed and a warm light, the sunshine, a sunbeam is just slowly going over your body, just putting you to sleep, calming you. That's another way to do body scanning. So, let's practice a breathing exercise. So smokers in the room, good luck. But we're still gonna do it. So here's what I would like you to do. I would like you to put both feet on the floor. Try to have a good, relatively good posture. And if you can, put your arms on your lap. Because sometimes we bring our hands if they're together, or if we're cross-eyed, cross-armed, cross-legged, you know, it's not going to be as relaxing. So try to relax yourself. We're going to do a breathing exercise, and I'll explain it first, then I'll get you to close your eyes and we'll go through it. But the idea is to breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. And I want you to hold your breath for 4 seconds. Then I want you to exhale through your mouth for 8 seconds. It's called the 4-4-8 rule. So in through the nose 4 seconds, hold 4 seconds, out through the mouth 8 seconds. Ready? We'll do it a few times, and then maybe I'll increase it. We'll see if there's any fainting over here. Maybe we can take a bit more. But let's try it. Ready? All right, let's try this. So close your eyes, and in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we're going to double it, so get ready. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Just take a couple more good deep breaths. Just be aware of your body right now. How's it reacting to all that oxygen? When you're ready, you can open your eyes. One of the reasons why they say to practice this breathing exercise is because we typically will take very short, deep breaths in life. Just lots of little shallow breathing. And our brain is not getting the right amount of oxygen. So we're walking around tired, our concentration is not there, our thinking is not very clear. But if all we did was to practice breathing better, they say there'll be so many more improvements just from that. So, how many of you felt any change in your body from breathing? We didn't even do it that long, a minute. Anybody notice anything different in their body?
For relaxation,
You felt just relaxed?
just relax and lose the tension of whatever you're holding.
Yep. Okay.
Just sitting there, absolutely just calm way of, every day, we'll go through every day, all that put into just that 8 seconds, 16 seconds.
You're right, just that short amount of time, you felt calm and all that tension was released and you felt just calm. Okay. Wow. Well, for those of us that carry a lot of anxiety and tension around, we should be doing that a lot more than just a simple breathing exercise. Okay? Anybody else notice anything? felt dizzy. Anybody know why? Because my brain was getting more oxygen than normal. So it shows I should be doing breathing exercises more often. I sometimes get dizzy. Just that sudden influx of oxygen. Okay?
I did that when you're talking about, that was a memory from my childhood. My mother asked me to take voice lessons, and I went into the teacher and she had me use more of my lungs than I'd ever done before. I had to sit down. And when I sing, it allows me to develop that breathing that actually makes me feel better.
Right.
Singing.
Right. Just getting that more oxygen capacity. Thank you. Yeah, water's always good. Another meditation, I won't teach it, but I'll maybe share it, is it's not quite a meditation, it's called visualization. They're very interesting. I'll be honest, when I was becoming a counselor, I used to think they were hokey. Like, what is this ridiculousness that they're teaching me? Oh, my word. I got it. But then after I tried it a few times, it took 3-4 times before I could actually do it. I'm shocked at how good it worked. But they would say to visualize, I'll give an example of on a beach. Close your eyes, do some breathing, do a body scan to relax your body. So you're already about 10 minutes into it by the time you do all that. And then they said, visualize yourself on a beach. I want you to feel the sand in your toes. Feel the sunshine on your face. Feel the warm breeze. Feel the mist from the air as the water comes in. And at first I couldn't feel nothing. This is ridiculous. But even to this day, if I imagine my toes squishing in the sand, I can feel it. Like my skin actually reacts, and I can feel a warm sun on my face. I can feel the hairs reacting. I don't know why, but it's so bizarre how our body reacts. And conversely, how our body tunes out reacting. We don't want to feel anything, we want to numb out, we don't want to feel anything. But our body can do really powerful things. I remember there was a woman I did counseling with, and she had been kidnapped. And a few other things happened. Tragic, horrible. But in her counseling, as she described, there would be, her skin would form rope indentations on her skin. Her body still remembered the trauma that powerfully that her skin would react. I never would have imagined that was powerful. That was probable, like possible. There's no way. But our body, there's a great book called Our Body Keeps the Score. And when we've been traumatized, our body remembers all that trauma and it stores it in our body, in our stomach, and our anxiety, and our tension, and our depression, everything. There's two kinds of explosions. There's explosion, where you burst out, you take your anger out on everybody else around you. And there's implosion, where you sort of go in, you keep it in, and you bury it in, and you beat up on yourself, really. And so our body keeps the score in things like trauma. And so it's really important to be able to do mindfulness and to relax our body and to listen to it. I'm vegetarian. Forgive me. I know that's not a thing here. When I worked for West Bank First Nation, my friend who became chief, Chris Derrickson, would tease me. He would say, do you know what vegetarian means in Okanagan? It means bad hunter. So he would make fun of me. And every time we had a community dinner, he would get me some few pine cones outside and a few roots. And he said, here, James, you can chew on this. But because I'm a vegetarian, every once in a while, I'll crave McDonald's fries. And did anybody want to take a guess why?
You grew up with it.
I did grow up with it. McDonald's fries are cooked in really heavy oil. And my body just craves it after a while, that I just need some fat. And so I crave McDonald's fries every once in a while just because my body needs that fat. I'm way off track. Okay.
Making me hungry.
Yeah. What are you doing, James? You should have brought fries.
You know, as you were talking about the rope, how you're, for my, I'm going to talk about my trauma, but anyway, my trauma, like, you'll see me sometimes when I get triggered, I'll start going like this, or I start, because I can feel, like I can still feel, or else I can taste, and so I kind of like try and not focus. I can still feel, taste, and smell. All these senses, and they'll trigger all at once, and somebody can be talking about something, and then all of a sudden my hands will start clicking,
Just go.
and it's like I can feel, I start feeling it. And so it's almost like I live their trauma with them, like I can feel it with them, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and I can feel, like I can, if you tell me like, oh, it was a wool shirt, I can feel the wool, I can taste, I can smell it so distinctly that it's, so trauma does do that to you, your body does, it holds it, and you have to, between you and God, you have to be able to release that. And so I know the triggers now, I know the triggers when people are talking, so immediately I always pray, Lord, help me to come through that. So even you talking about that, my fingers are going, ooh,
Yeah.
I feel the
You can
triggers
remember.
coming.
Yeah, songs will do that to people. They'll hear a song and suddenly they'll start to remember something. A little while ago, I saw somebody from my childhood. I hadn't seen him for 35 years. That's a long time. And suddenly, I remembered some things I had not remembered for 35 years, just by seeing a face. Even though he was an adult, he was a man. When we were kids, we used to go goof off and play in the woods, right? And I remembered suddenly memories just by seeing somebody's face. So our body, it's very powerful how it remembers things. And we want to be able to control what's happening to our body rather than be victim to it all the time. Yes?
My trigger stems from the residential school era.
Yeah.
We're more or less told to line up for our food, line up for everything.
Yeah.
And I see that in our, in our band school. I see the little children lined up as we were when we were 6 years old, lined up for it. But when they're, caught that way before it went to them, that's what triggered me.
Lineup.
Lineups.
Okay, we won't do any lineups here tonight. I promise you. But yeah, interesting how things will set off people. I remember I was wearing a completely black sweater one time, and I had it buttoned up like this. And I went to see somebody for counseling. And we sat there for a little while, and they were mad. And I don't know why, I hadn't done anything that I was aware of. And they were just mad, and so we just sat there quietly for a few minutes. And he said, I think I know why I'm struggling right now. You reminded me of my priest. You have a white t-shirt, and you're dressed all in black. And he said, it reminded me of the priest. And he said, you have the exact haircut, short haircut, and same black glasses that my priest had. I'm like, oh, I am so sorry. I would never, so I did my, but it's amazing the triggers that can happen. right? We don't even know, and our body is keeping track of that. So it's very important that we learn how to read our body and to be able to relax it. So, next one is, handling stressful moments. So recognizing the triggers, like we've been talking about here, how we need to pause and to breathe, how we want to respond mindfully and not reactively, and know when it's not working and to try something else. So I want to suggest this. My girls, one of the things I tried to teach them as a kid was, life is going to have junk happen to you. It just is.
Yeah.
You can count on it. Count on it. But I want them to respond, not to react. So if somebody throws something at them out of anger, to not react and chuck it back and hurt them. You want to sit there for a minute. Did I say something and deserve that? Was there a misunderstanding? What's going on? And then to respond rather than react. So, definitely want to do that. Next is understanding our emotions. A little while ago, I was running a men's group, so there were 8 or 10 men in it. And I said, okay, so how's everyone feeling today? And the majority of the guys went around the room and said, good, 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 bad, good. I thought, that's only like 2 different emotions that they were describing. Anybody know what a typical men's reaction to something is? Anybody? Not that we're going to try to peg hole people into certain things, but if something bad happens, right away men will get angry. They'll go into fight or flight mode. Anybody know what a typical female or woman's reaction is to something? Anybody? What else? Some words. What's that? It's a freeze response. Like, should I panic? Should I go? Should I do something? Like they think more about it than the guys who put the charge into the burning building, right? Like they pause and reflect a little bit faster, sort of a freeze response. So it's just interesting seeing different people when we're asked to say, how are you feeling, that I actually had to hand out, I printed off a kid's thing from school about 50 different emotions, their faces. You know, this is what anxious looks like, this is what happens, this is what pride looks like, this is what, and I gave the men's group that I was doing counseling this emotion sheet, so they would pick more than just good, good, mad, good, good, right? So we had to reacquaint ourselves with emotions. Another thing that we need to do in practicing mindfulness and understanding our emotions is we want to practice non-judgmental awareness. Is just slowing down and not judging somebody, right? Larry walked in here and he didn't judge me at all. He just walked right up to me, said hi. That was a non-judgmental awareness, right? There's no apprehension. That's good. And today, walking around in the elders' luncheon, as soon as I stuck out my hand to shake everyone's hand, they immediately were beaming, smiling. I thought, this is a healthy elders group. Everybody smiled, a big, genuine smile. Like, this is a good group. It's a healthy group. We talked about react versus respond earlier. And to respond with compassion and clarity. I remember one time my daughter, we went to a parade. And think about this. She was only maybe 3 or 4 years old. She was just a little thing. Tiny. And at the parade, these big floats went by, they're throwing out candy, and all the kids sitting on the curbs would get candy. There was one kid that didn't get any candy. Didn't get a pair. It was grabbed before they could get anything. So they were sitting there, completely sad. Deflated. You could just see it. You know, like the world has crushed me. And so my daughter, not even knowing what to do, came and sat beside them, a complete strange kid, sat beside him and was dead quiet. She knew enough that they needed to be comforted, but she didn't have any idea what to say. And just sat with them silently. I think eventually she shared her candy. But at first, her first reaction was emotionally to connect and just sit there in silence. Can you imagine if us adults did that? How emotionally connected we would be and mature. Our EQ would be so high just because we could emotionally connect with somebody that fast. So, another way to be mindful is in our communication. Mindful listening and speaking, to listen with full attention without planning a response. And I actually, sometimes I was a really good counselor, sometimes I wasn't. Because I just wanted to get in there and start coaching instead of counseling. I went, well, you need to do this and this and this. And they needed to, hang on, let me finish. I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right. What was I thinking? But to slow down and to not react and planning a response answer. You just want to listen. Did this culture have a talking stick? Any elders tell me, did you have a talking stick in this culture? Or was it more, yeah? Because I know in other bands I've gone to, other nations, they had talking sticks, and that prevented other people from speaking when you were recognized.
Or an eagle feather, yeah.
Or an eagle feather. So you had the floor, and people were to listen, not to talk.
Same in Samoan culture.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Well. Speak with intention, clarity, and kindness. Now that seems to be lacking a little bit these days, especially in the political world. Not a whole lot of kindness being spoken. It's unfortunate. So, here's what we're going to do. I want you to get interactive for a second. You ready? I want you to pick a partner. Doesn't matter who it is. Find somebody in the room, pick a partner, and sit beside them. Ready? Go. We're going to be quick. Find a partner.
Oh, you tell each other.
Okay, you're good. Back, in the back. Okay, all matched up. Ready? Okay. Is there an odd personnel? Come on up. We'll do it together.
Did you call me odd?
Odd, even. You're right, I did.
I am a little odd, just a little bit. You're welcome.
Okay.
No, I don't take offense, trust me, that's more.
Odd, even is what I was thinking, and it came out. I knew it was odd.
They're being recorded, so just let it.
Oh,
The people that listen to it.
okay. All right. Okay. I want you to, you don't have to face each other, but at least, be able to listen to each other. I want you to talk about, pick who's going to go first. I want you to talk about something that you're very proud of, that you accomplished in your life. So think about it for a minute. Think about something that you're proud of, that you can share to your partner, and you have 30 seconds to share. Ready? So I'm going to get a timer, and we're going to do 30 seconds. I want you to share something that you're proud of. And I'll say stop when your 30 seconds is up. But here's what I want your partner to do. I want them to say, thank you for sharing. And that's it. Okay? You share something you're proud of, your partner says, thank you for sharing, and that's it. And there you're gonna switch. Then the other person says something they're proud of for 30 seconds, and you say, thank you for sharing. And that's it. Okay? Ready? It's an easy one. Trust me, I could have done it a lot harder. But let's practice that. Ready?
You want to go first? Okay. Excuse me. Well,
Ready? Start.
I sobered up. Before I sobered up, I met the Lord. And one time, the Lord, I got to tell you, he was very hard on me for a while. And those people who were supposed to be Christians, they weren't. You see my hand. I just felt me just speaking my language. And I wasn't proud of it. I was proud of my language.
Okay, stop.
Really.
What I'm really proud of is meeting my first
Stop.
That's the second one.
Yeah. Okay. So, did everybody have a second? You switched? I didn't announce that. Did you switch?
Yeah.
Everybody? No? Okay, quickly do it and we'll, you're off, put the timer off. Okay, ready? Go.
But I'm not really from there. I'm from a village called Gwa'sala. I'm not literally. That's what it's called tradition. I don't know if you call it Chinese, but it means turn island. That was in New Zealand. This got spoiled.
Okay, stop.
Oh, we're talking. We were just talking.
Okay. How did you find that? Both sharing of something you're proud of, and then also all you could do was say thank you for sharing. So how did anybody feel or react?
We were trying to figure out why he asked us to say thank you for sharing. Because it didn't feel normal.
Or you just want to step in and oh yeah, that's
I know, I struggled. In fact, I said a couple things. Really? Wow. Or yeah, or stuff like that. Like I wanted to engage. And so it was so hard for me. Maybe it's because I'm French. I don't know. I just wanted to. Okay. Somebody else. How did you feel sharing, or just being able to say thank you for sharing?
It just gives the other person a chance to talk and finish what they had to say and no interruptions.
Yeah. They were free. So for those of us who found you wanted to say something, I wonder how much that happens in life, where we cut people off, and we want to say something, and they're not finished speaking. So, this exercise was meant for us to realize that in communication even, we can be more mindful and let others finish and let them speak and to draw them in more and ask more questions rather than us always being the ones to talk. Right? Yeah. Okay. This is a hot one, and we're almost done, guys. Mindfulness in the workplace. Now let me tell you, out of all the places to not be mindful, the workplace is one of them. You're there to get stuff done. You got work to do. But we're very stressed in our jobs. So many people are collecting stress-related benefits through their workplace because it's just hard to manage. And so I thought I would talk about mindfulness in the workplace for a minute. There's just too much stress and we need to manage it better. I remember there was a kid that came in, and I think I shared this last time I was here. But a kid came in, a student that was really struggling. He was a straight A student. He was struggling with his grades. He was suddenly failing everything. Teacher didn't know why, school counselor didn't know why, parents didn't know why. He was suddenly failing everything. And so he came in for counseling, and we just had a hard time putting our finger on it. Why are you failing at everything? You're a genius kid. And when we, just out of luck, I gave him the stress test. Sort of go through your life and rate everything, tick off the box. You know, parents recently divorced, recently had to move, lost old friends, made new ones. Saw good friends from a long time ago. All kinds of things like that. He checked off so many of the boxes in the stress test. In fact, his score was off the chart. There wasn't even a high enough score. Even in the critical high area, it was past that. Like, well, no wonder you're failing everything. Your brain is locking up. You're shutting down. Like, there's just too much stress and pressure on you. So, taught him how to go in a bathroom stall before an exam, to do that breathing exercise and body scanning just to relax his body a bit, and then go into the test and write the test. And he started acing all his exams again. And it's because he was just too wound up. He was actually cutting off. I don't even know how medically that's possible, but he was just locking up. And so it's critically important for us, whether we're at work or like this kid was at school, to be able to take the time to just slow down, breathe, meditate, and move on with our day. So, here's a couple ideas on how to do that. Whenever there's a meeting at work, that everybody come in and you start your meeting with not reviewing the agenda, breathing for a minute. Like actually starting. In fact, there was a guy at my work, we sent him off to be trained in yoga, and he taught us how to do yoga in our chairs. And we would start every meeting with a minute or two of chair yoga. It was interesting, but it totally calmed us all down. Our meetings went so much better after that. They were just calm. We weren't as wound up and reactive. So, yeah. Yeah. Take mindful breaks during the day, and I know we don't take breaks. Sometimes I go home and my wife asks if I've even eaten or gone to the bathroom that day, and sometimes I hadn't. But to actually take breaks. So I know that there are some people that will have their phone programmed to go off every hour.
She asked you that because she noticed you were a little wired?
Probably. Yes. I think you know me. So yes, she did notice that. And I'm not the greatest at self-care. Nurses are the worst patients. You know, sometimes we don't practice everything we teach. So set your phone every hour and just do some breathing or do a meditation of some kind. Approach tasks with a beginner's mind, being way more curious, asking more questions is what that's really trying to say. Mindful transitions between tasks. So in other words, when you're finished a job, take a break, breathe, clean off your desk, then start the next task. For me at home, sometimes if I'm building around the property, I'm fiddling with fencing or whatever, roofing, I'll take my tools, I'll go in the shop, I'll put all my tools away, then I relax, and then I get my next tools I'll need, I'll put them in my bag, and I'm off to the next project. And that's my way of sort of just realizing, task accomplished, I'm finished, I can relax, then move on to the next one. It's a weird ritual, but for me, for some reason it works. Mindful emailing. I sent away a really, it wasn't a horrible email, not the greatest email one time. And I learned a big lesson. I couldn't pull it back. I tried. And they got the email and we talked afterwards. I apologized, not the greatest moment. But I remember a coworker taught me to triple read emails before you send it off. And so this next one is mindful emailing. Just make sure you ask yourself, is this the right tone? Is this the right detail? Is this the right spirit to send off an email? That's mindful emailing.
Texting.
Yeah, texting, whatever it is. Right, now you have the option to edit emails, and I love that, the text. Mindful workspace organization, and we talked about that. Next one is overcoming some of the barriers. Not everybody can do breathing exercises like that, like we did earlier. Not everybody can do body scanning. It triggers them. So not everybody can do that. So some common challenges are distractions and a busy mind. It's too much. Can't quite relax. So you've got to find other ways to relax other than mindfulness and meditation. Sometimes there's a perceived lack of time, and to me, that should never be the case. You always have time. And another one is self-criticism and doubt. Sometimes we're just too hard on ourselves, and we doubt that we can. Oh, I can't relax. No, you actually can. Not only can you should. Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes in let's say logging or in construction, we have a really bad day, right? Really, just everything don't fall in place. Then you get off work and you take your work to home,
Right.
and that really got to me.
Yep.
I had to really think about it. What they were telling me.
Don't take it out on me.
Yeah. Yes.
Yep. I know somebody that the husband came home, was complaining, and the wife went and got a garbage can, took him outside, put the garbage can down, and said, when you're done, you can come back in. In other words, throw it all in the garbage, don't come in and bring it into me. So that was a good hint, which is exactly what you're talking about, is you want to catch that, step back, and be careful what you take home. Yeah. Okay. So, how do we develop a good mindfulness practice? Is every day start small, and just start with 5 to 10 minutes of starting your day out right. Finding a way to be mindful, starting the day. Some people do this with a gratitude journal, others do this with prayer. You want to find a way to start your day, and right away you'll notice that you're going to wake up and start your day calmer instead of, oh my goodness, I got to get going. Right? The alarm, no, I got to get going. That's why it's called an alarm. It's alarming, right? You don't want to have to wake up that way. You want to be able to start your day on the right foot. So start off with a meditation or a mindful practice of some kind. Another thing you want to do is choose a regular time and place. So find somewhere during your day. I remember there was a guy, we were in addiction treatment. His name was, oh, I liked his name, Italian. Giovanni Veranto. Giovanni Veranto. We would never find him at lunch. He was gone. You know, I'm busy at my office doing shuffling papers. It's my lunchtime. I've got to get caught up on work, right? Okay, and there's lots to do. Giovanni Veranto. Where is he? He's gone. And he found a way to get out of work, out of his office. He found a bench somewhere on the property that was quiet and private. And he would go there and he was doing meditation. Like a counselor that's practicing what he's supposed to be doing. Imagine that. The audacity. But he knew from experience if he's going to last a long time in this field, he needed to pace himself. And he was doing it right. So, next one is be patient and kind to yourself. Oh, so imagine a world of mindfulness. So this is how we're going to wrap up our talk today. You're in your partner still, right? You might need to partner up with somebody. So everybody find a partner, and we're going to do this again. But this time, I actually want you to face your chairs together, so you're looking at each other. The intensity is stepping up. To end, we're going to do something intense. We're going to look at each other. Yeah. Ready? Face to face. It's going to be intense. It's going to be intense. What do we need to do? Okay. So, we're going to. Somebody in the back there.
We need a partner.
Yeah, Elmo needs a partner.
Okay. I will partner with Elmo.
Okay. So here's this exercise. This is gonna, for intensity, our first one that we were doing, talking about something you're proud of, that was probably like a 1. This one's gonna be somewhere around maybe a 4 or 5. So it's gone up a little bit. Ready? You two are married? Oh boy, you better be good at this. Okay, we're at a 5. This is not the intensity ones that I'm used to giving, so you can thank me later. But this is going to be a little bit more, so just know that there's no talking during this entire exercise. None. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Joy and I are going to struggle. We'll go do our own group here right away. We'll talk and laugh in the corner and distract all of you. Yeah. So no talking, and I also want you again to pick who's going to go first. So you guys decide. Okay? Pick who's going to go first. Now, the introduction to this exercise is called Imagine a World of Mindfulness. Remember that song, Imagine All the People?
Oh, yeah.
Right? John Lennon, Imagine a World, sort of like that. We're going to imagine a world right now. I want you to look at your partner, and whoever's going to go first, I want you to say what I'm going to read. I want you to say it with your eyes to your partner. Ready? So you're going to have facial expressions. Your body language can lean in if it needs to.
Where's your partner?
I don't want you smacking anybody. I want you to say this with your eyes only. Okay, say it with your eyes only. It is. It's okay. Correct. Say this with your eyes only. No talking. Ready? So, whoever's going to go first, I want you to say this with your eyes. Ready? Okay. Hi. So, right. Just to clarify, whoever's going first is saying this with their eyes, and there's no talking, Joy.
Bus, Joy.
Hi. It's good to see you. I'm glad you're here with me. I want you to know that I care about you. I want you to know that I would never hurt you. I want you to know that you can always come to me. Please take care. And if you can say this, you've done very well. I love you. Okay, ready? Switch. Now your partner is going to say, hi. It's good to see you. I'm glad you're here. I want you to know that I also care for you. I want you to know I would never hurt you. I want you to know that you can always come to me for anything. Please take care, my friend. I love you.
That's good workout for the eyeballs.
Yeah, it's hard to do.
That's hard to do.
It's really hard to do.
It's hard to look at somebody.
It's interesting looking around the room. People have very different experiences than those around them. Everybody had a completely different experience. So let's take a minute and just tell me, what was your experience? What did you feel? Did you feel your partner was being genuine? Could you feel what they were saying with their eyes? Did you believe them? Tell me what your experience was. Heartfelt.
The energy, just watching her and like her eyes just like sort of, there was a shine that was just absolutely like visual, and I could literally feel that from her emanating from her eyes. She didn't have to do any hand gestures, any like, you know, weird anything touching, nothing. She was right there. She was in it.
Same.
And I felt the same,
Yeah.
Very genuine.
yeah, when we
Yeah.
switched.
You can really feel the genuineness of that engagement. Okay, good.
There's
Somebody else?
actually like an energy, like
Yeah.
you could feel like a very
There was a real
Yeah.
energy there, you
The
could feel it.
magnetic.
magnetic or something,
Yeah.
that you can feel it.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. Okay, somebody else, yes.
I felt the strength that we've had sometimes lack of, but, you know, being together all these years,
So saying I love you just came out hard and strong. All those years of being together. How long have you been together, by the way?
45.
45 years. Wow. I know. You know, not everybody has someone. And you want to be sensitive to that. But I think it's equally important to celebrate those that have been able to be together and to be happy for them and proud of them. And you both felt a lot of emotion in that exchange. I could see that. You were wiping away the tears. You really could feel that. Yeah. Okay. Good. Someone else.
I felt honored that she participated and she was vulnerable. And I did hear those messages through her eyes, but I would say your expression was not way different. All of those seem to have the same genuine sincerity.
Interesting. Yeah. So they were congruent. It was very genuine.
Guys to guys, it's challenging.
It is. It's extremely
Guys to
challenging.
guys.
It's very challenging. I agree. Yeah. Because we're not taught that. We're not taught to be vulnerable with each other. We're not taught to, we can, if we were talking about Fords versus Chevs, well, we could have a very intense
Eyebrows
right? Eyebrows and everything, right? But this is around pretty intimate stuff. And you're right. I think that's an important distinction to make, that for us guys, it's a bit tougher from how we were raised, right? That's a good point. Yeah.
I wish I had the life moments of my little grandchild. We were sitting somewhere not long ago, and he was doing some real things with his eyes. And the lady said, "You're flirting with me."
So we won't ask what kind of going on over there. Okay. Anybody else? Any other comments or anything?
We responded to each other while you were saying the words. I heard you people speaking back to one another.
Interesting. So, in addition to verbal, to saying it with your eyes, you felt compulsion to hug each other and that's a very real human connection emotion.
And when you said, "I won't hurt you,"
Yeah.
you could see both of us.
Yeah.
You were feeling
That trust was there.
Right.
That's what we're doing, comments, when you trust that, then not to see anything.
I've done this in group. The next sort of step up in intensity is when we hear that if you ever be hurt or being attacked by anyone, I want you to call me and I will come over. In other words, to physically protect you and to take care of you. And so that gets a bit tough because a lot of us will be hurt. And, to say that with genuine intensity. I learned this at a conference, and we were complete strangers. Nobody knew anybody. And it was tough. And this was only 5 minutes. We had to do this for probably a good 20. So it can get very tough. But I'll tell you, at the end of that conference, not one of us would ever have hurt the other person consciously for the rest of our lives. So imagine if we could be that mindful with every single person we interact with, that you're someone's son, you're someone's daughter. How dare I think of harming you? I would want to protect you. I love you. You're my brother, you're my sister. I don't care what background we have. How dare we think of harming each other? You're my brother and my sister. To be that mindful. Wow. There's some books to read, some apps to get for practicing mindfulness. I guess I want to thank you for inviting me back in your community. I look forward to the next few days of workshops and talks together. I look forward to working with your youth. Whoever comes, we're going to invest in. I love that. I love the fact that we started out with something simple, light, mindfulness, but really at the end of the day, it can all be summarized by this, that if we just were more mindful of each other, a lot of the traumas and the grief and the loss, it would have a minimal impact on us if we could be that much more available for each other. So, thank you so much, everyone. Have a good night.
Very valuable.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead. Let me flip this off real quick here.